How do you test for the reticulocyte? Is it a marker that you can just test through your doctor?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How do I test for it? I write it on the form. At the end of the day, wear a continuous glucose monitor. If you're worried about your HbA1c being too high, then if you wear a continuous glucose monitor, it's a little disc, it just sticks onto the back of your arm,
Right.
then what you'll get is real-time measurements
Mm.
over a 24-hour period for about 2 weeks. I think in the States, I think
Yes.
they last for 10 days, but in Australia, they for 2 weeks. And that'll be communicated wirelessly to your phone, and that will give you perfect information on the trend of your blood sugar levels. You don't always trust the absolute level, but it's the trend that
Yes.
you're worried about. If you understand that variations in the sugar level are what generates oxidative stress, then if you've got a pancake flat trace, then you could really care less what your HbA1c is. So this is a study
Okay.
published in 1979 by Solomon, and they looked at if they absorption of zinc from a meal of oysters. And they first of all, they the way they assess the absorption of zinc is they measured the zinc in the blood periodically after consuming a meal, and they could see, okay, if the zinc is ending up in your circulation, then it indicates that you are actually absorbing it. That's basically science. And what they found was that when they fed people oysters and black beans in the same meal, some of the chemicals, some of the phytic acid within the black beans would actually bind to the zinc and stop you absorbing the nutrients
Right.
within the oysters. And zinc absorption was reduced by 50% when you
Wow.
combine it with black beans. But the fascinating finding was when you combine oysters and corn tortillas, that the absorption of zinc was reduced 100%. Unfortunately, anti-nutrients don't just impact on the food that they're contained within, but they can impact on any other food ingested at the same time.
And I've seen that a lot. So I know that there are certain anti-nutrients even in teas and in coffees. And I see a lot of people drink their tea and coffee with their meats, which then can bind to iron, it can bind to other minerals. And we don't think of these things when we're eating certain foods. We think we're being healthier. It's just like how spinach has a lot of oxalates and that will bind to the iron. And so it's really, really fascinating.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Basically, if you're having a food with anti-nutrients in it, and people still, if you do a quick Google search for it, you'll see that there's half a dozen vegan articles saying that, oh, anti-nutrients are actually not that bad for you, and they'll try and spin it in a way that they're good. But basically, they're sucking the nutrition out of your food. I honestly don't see how on God's green earth that anti-nutrients can be a good thing. And if you understand that it's not just that food that becomes deficient in nutrient, it's anything it's consumed with.
Right.
You can see that it causes huge problems.
And so I've recommended to some people that are really adamant about eating certain veggies, I'll say steam them and then, if anything, eat them by itself as a snack with no other food by it.
If people are taking heavy zinc supplements or copper or iron supplements or what have you, that for whatever reason. So a lot of my patients will be coming in and they'll be taking these supplements, and while zinc, copper, and iron, they're not the same as anti-nutrients. If you understand that they share absorption pathways and there can be competitive inhibition of absorption, if somebody is truly trying to increase their iron levels, then it doesn't make sense that you consume it at the same time as a zinc supplement, which is just going to compete with that. So, an understanding of nutrient absorption, I think, is very important.